Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the MMA Huddle. You are joined with Will and myself. We are back, and we are here for 9 weeks in a row, Will. We've got 9 UFC events in a row now. So we're in for the long haul. But before we get started on the breakdown for the upcoming Moicano zombie card, hit that subscribe button down below if you've not done already. And if you hit the little bell, you'll get a notification when we pop out our breakdowns or any interviews, which, as you will see lately, have popped up. I've been doing quite a few interviews, so they'll all be popping up this week. And do feel free to listen to them, subscribe, like them, comment as well down below on your picks for the fight card, and also any bets that you got going on. And obviously, Will's going to break down his picks for bets at the end of this. So, Will, how's the break been again? It doesn't sound like a lot, but 1 week is a beautiful, beautiful break for us.
Yeah, like I say, I enjoy it. It's something in the past that I would think, oh, I've got a break, da, 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 but now it's like very much warranted, very much look forward to. Especially when you've got other things in your life that kind of pull you away, and you're not sitting in front of the screen watching fights, or you're not talking about fights. It's better. It is better, and maybe it's just me showing the age a little bit there, because I know there's a lot of youngsters that have come in and started doing this, and they want to do it every week and every week. It's like put in a few years of this, and then you'll see how much a grind it can be as well. So yeah, looking forward to it. We've got a big run of fights coming up here. Over the summer period, so yeah, we're looking forward to kind of getting into this one. It's a nice reintroduction back into the UFC kind of fights again. So yeah,
it is indeed. So like I said, we're going to break down the card first, then we'll go to the bets. So let's kick off the card, Will. Let's start with Andre Ewell against Anderson dos Santos. Will, what are you seeing in this fight, and how do you see it going down?
Yeah, this was a weird fight. Initially, just looking at betting odds, I saw it, and I think Andre Ewell was a humongous favourite. Yeah, so
Really?
he opened minus 305.
What?
Humongous favourite. Yeah, he was a big favourite. Now, looking at the lines today, I've not really looked at too much over the last week or so, but he's actually moved to an underdog. So that's massive, massive difference from what he started at and what he opened at. When you look at the matchup, I can see why it's a pick in my eyes. Like, it's very hard, very hard fight to kind of pick or get a good reads on, because I don't really rate them all that highly. I think he got Henenbrow. Henenbrow is clearly done at this point. Down in Brazil, which is fair play, went down there and did the business. Then I saw people so confident in him against Nathaniel Wood, and I was like, what are you guys even seeing here? I was like, and they bet Nathaniel Wood to an underdog against him. I was like, give me that, I'm all over that. Very kind of weird striking, unorthodox striking, but like I said, I don't think he's over great in many areas. When you look at Dos Santos, I think he was a guy that came in, and I think it was a Chile card, got his opportunity there, fought hard. Like I said, I just don't think he's much stands out. I think he's very tough. Was it Naramani he fought? I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, Naramani fight me, yeah.
Yeah, and Nad's a tough overall fighter, but Dos Santos didn't really show too much. Sure, he was tough. Sure, he was kind of durable. Coin flip to me here. I'll pick Andre Ewell. I think that just his unorthodox striking can maybe put Dos Santos off. But if you got Dos Santos as a big underdog, then that's a good play. And now the value is actually on Andre Ewell. So interesting fight. But like I say, it's one that if I miss it, I won't be too bothered about it. Put it that way. But I'll pick Andre Ewell for the win.
Yeah, it kicks off the card, thankfully, so we don't have to put that on the main card. But yeah, it's dos Santos for me. That was a big gap, like you just said there, Will. But for me, for Santos, I think that he's got probably a bit of aggression in the fight that will put you all off. You have to be a lot on the back foot quite a lot. Santos just likes to come forward, almost like as a shell, like a boxer's shell when he comes forward. Throws heavy hands. We saw he could take a hit. He got hit hard by Nad. And I thought Nad was a tough fight for anyone. Like you said, Will, Nad's just horrible because Nad can get you down. And when Nad gets you down, he's very good on heavy on top. Ewell will use his footwork and movement to try and just land, touch, and go. But I'm with you. I think it is tough because you could just jab and kick long kicks and kind of win in the match that way. But De Santos could just wear you down and hit him because you saw he gets hit. He's not got a granite chin. He's been dropped, and we've seen him fall a couple of times. So I'm going to go with Santos myself because it is a coin toss. You've gone for Ewell. I'm going to go Santos. I'm 51-49. I'm not uber confident on it. I'm with you. I wouldn't put any money on it unless, like you saw, that betting line was obscenely crazy. So I'm going to go to Santos decision, but I know I'm not super confident on either one of them, to be honest with you. Let's go. Fingers crossed as a draw. So we're going to kick off next match, which has been rebooked, rescheduled, all this jazz. In the middleweight division, Deron Winn against Eric Spicely. Spicely's just come back to the UFC after being cut. It's a short notice step in. Winn apparently has had anyone and everyone pull out. Winn's he's green, very green, let's say, in MMA, but he's a legitimate high-level wrestler. But Eric Spicely, very good grappler. So it's there for Spicely to catch Winn, because Spicely, I know he's had a couple of wins outside the UFC, a couple of finishes since he got cut. Chow Magalesh, who's had like one, he's like lost 4 in a row anyway since his. I think he's like, he said 1-4, sorry, since he's cut from the UFC. So I'm not sure if things are going well for him. And Spicely knocked out this Leo Pa, was it? I think it is pronounced. He's not a very good fighter in general anyway. But Spicely went there and got the win. I'm going to go for Winn here because I just think he's very strong. He's not very great at striking, and that falls into Spicely's world as well because he's not very good at striking either, to be fair. I think Winn's going to throw heavy, quick hands to charge and take down Spicely. If I'm Spicely, I'm just kind of hoping to get the guillotine in. That's all I'm looking for, is a guillotine choke. But I think Winn might be smart enough to just go for single leg takedowns rather than go for the double legs. Go for the single leg takedown, reap it, run the pipe, get it down, and get on top, and just kind of run this one out for 3 rounds. I got a decision win for Winn, but Spicer could always get an upset there. He's live because we know he's caught people out before who you didn't expect him to catch out. But I go Winn, but I'm not uber fussed about this fight, Will.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to Deron Winn against Bruno Santos.
Yeah.
When I really dug into Bruno Santos, like, oh, this is a tough fight for someone like Winn. It's like, it's kind of showing you like the kind of matchmaking they're making, like giving him tough fights. I mean, I know he's still pretty new to MMA, but Deron Winn's like, he's I think 3-time NC All-American wrestler. He's 30 years old, so he's not a young kid. He's just kind of young in the MMA cycles. When you look at me, he's like a short, like Daniel Cormier kind of to say, like he's just got that look about him. Throws a big right hand, usually lands, but he's a very, very small middleweight, to say the least. But he's well built. Goes straight in for double legs, single legs. His grappling, his wrestling is really, really good. So you're going to have a very opportunistic jiu-jitsu guy to try and really catch him out. And Spicely can do that. I don't think he's a high caliber jiu-jitsu guy, but he's got attacks in his arsenal that could potentially halt Deron Winn a little bit. But I just think that wrestle repeat kind of type game is kind of going to take effect here. And like I say, I think a decision is probably the best kind of outcome for this fight. So I'll pick Winn via decision.
Okay, well, next up, flyweight division. We've got Lipsky versus McCann. I don't see a lot of takedowns happening in this fight. What are you looking forward to in this one, bro?
Yeah, I really think this fight's close. I've seen people, not that I've been online that much, but the times I have been on, people are like really like high on Lipsky, and like I like as a fighter. You probably heard me against Jojo. I picked her against Jojo, but she looked terrible in that fight. She looked like you could definitely see the UFC jitters got to her. Super flat-footed. Timing was off. Just did not look the type of fighter that she was that we've seen in KSW. Maybe that's the jumping caliber opponent because Jojo is probably the highest ranked fighter that she faced. at this point. But then you've got Molly coming in here, obviously got that win in London, I want to say back in March. So she's kind of getting a quick turnaround, especially after having fairly seriously bad injury with that eye that the orbital, I think it was, that got messed up. And she fought kind of closer in that fight with Priscilla, and I initially thought she would. That third round, she definitely lost that round. First two rounds, you have to give it to Molly, but she's not a high caliber fighter. Let's say that for Molly, but we know what she's going to do. She's going to come forward. She's going to kind of initiate a fight, and I don't think Lipsky is the type of fighter to really back down and like go straight and like, oh, I need to take this fight to the ground now. It'd be smart for her to do that because I think she probably has a slight advantage down there. But on the feet, I think it's anybody's game. I think that Lipsky uses more of a well-rounded game with kicks and so on, where Molly's predominantly kind of punches, and she kind of comes forward, kind of swinging, and is open to being hit with big shots. So that's something that she has to be wary of. Lipsky really flattered to deceive in that fight with Jojo. This is probably a fight more to her kind of level. But like I say, I'm not writing off Molly McCann in this. I am picking Lipsky via decision. But I think there's going to be a lot of strikes thrown with these two. I just think that Lipsky might have the kind of more well-rounded technical game and might counter-shot Molly a little bit more than she kind of. She might just counter-shot a little bit more and get more predominant shots off. I give Molly a good chance to win the fight, but my pick's going to be Ariane Lipsky in this one.
Yeah, I think Lipsky got caught out by Calderwood because of the takedowns. I don't think she foresaw that. And in the first round, especially, it just kind of it knocked her for six. And obviously, the big lights, big stage, and adrenaline dump can happen. But I think she kind of looked just a bit stuck because I think she just was so tentative then to want to be open with her striking because of the takedown. It just threw her off. Shouldn't have to be so wary in this fight. Molly can go for takedowns. She has done. But I don't think Molly will look to. Boxing is her go-to. That's what she did. That's what her kind of thing was prior to the whole MMA scene. And she does. My only worry with Molly is when she does the boxing, when she uses her hands, she always overextends to one side when you see her throw the combinations. Have you noticed that? She'll throw the combo and she'll overextend to one side. And I'm like, she kind of leans forward onto the side of it. I'm like, gosh, that's a readable mistake to counter onto. So a knee, like Lipsky throws knees, that's got to be an option. That's got to be something that opponents have looked at and went, we could take advantage of that. So I do worry that she, maybe Lipsky doesn't be the person that does it, but someone could. There is, like you said, Will, there is holes in Molly's game just as much as there are on Lipsky's. I expect to see a more relaxed Lipsky. I think Molly as well will get a bit of a groove. My only kicks could play a factor. I think Lipsky could hit the leg kicks to slow Molly down a little bit on that side of things. I would go split decision Lipsky because I think the boxing will hurt Lipsky upstairs, but the leg kicks might take a toll come to the second, third round from Lipsky if she's landed a good enough set of kicks onto Molly where it might slow Molly's movement down for her to maybe land other kind of shots and combinations. And I think Lipsky's probably the more dangerous in the clinch as well out of the two. But yeah, I edge it just Lipsky, but I'm going to go for split because I think Molly, she does hit hard. She does crack. She just doesn't like to stay in the pocket for too long, so she doesn't get enough off, in my opinion. Next up, we have in the heavyweight division, who is the people's champ, Alan Crowder, after dethroning the wife beater, Hardy, going up against. Do you know what's really annoying, Will? I got his name mustard last night. I drilled this dude's name last night. I was like, we're getting this for the podcast. Now I've had a whole day. And my job, I deal with people and contractors who are not based in the UK. So a lot of them fit names that aren't to my tongue or not native to my tongue. And I can't even say his name now. It's Jairzinho Rozenstruik. I'll do, yeah. There you go. Rosas, as he likes me to call him Rosas. Will, I got to admit, I only see one man winning this fight. And it's Rosas, if I'm honest with you. I think this fight is ideal for him. I think Alan can take a hit. Alan's quite surprising. He's got a good kind of shell defense of taking shots, but I just think that when he had that battle against Hardy, Hardy just went full tilt in the first minute or so, thinking, "Oh yeah, all I have to do is land and everyone falls." Then it didn't happen, and Rosa showed, he got the Albini fight. Was it? He's there to be taken down, but at the same time, if he gets grappling stage, he's not too bad. Second round, he showed pop in his punches. And I think that's where he's always dangerous with those hands and feet. And I think he's going to be dangerous here. I think he's going to piece up Alan. Alan ideally wants to get a takedown. If you're Alan, get this fight to the ground. Do not let it stay standing. But I'm going to go with Rosas here for a first round win. I think now that he's got his feet underneath him after getting in the UFC, I think you'll see what kind of skill set this dude has. Precision, power, beautiful combinations. I'm going to go first round Rosas here. I think Alan, like you said, he was brought in to lose to Hardy, and that kind of backfired. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Rosas here, first round, mate.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Rozenstruik as well. I think that even though I wasn't super impressed with his debut against Albini, he got taken down a couple of times, and that's worrisome. Yeah. That's very worrisome, but you can see that he's got big power. So it doesn't take much for him to put things together. And when he does put them together, you've seen the kind of after effects and what he can do. So in the heavyweight division, that's a big thing. If you can literally put a couple of shots together that are devastating, like the heavyweights can throw, then it's a big thing. Crowder's just not really that good. He won that fight with Hardy. He got that W on his side. I'd be surprised if he wins another fight in the UFC. So, like I say, he was actually a guy initially I wanted to bet, but his line's too high and he's just not overly that good. So would it surprise me if Crowder came out here and made this closer? Maybe not so much. But Rozenstruik, if he puts those hands together, he could definitely land on Crowder and knock him out. So I'll go Rozenstruik via TKO second round.
Nice. Next up, we have in the lightweight division, blast from the past. Very far past. Jeez Louise. Matt Wiman against Luis Pena. Luis go back up to lightweight because he realised that looking like a crackhead on the weighing scales is not a good idea and can't make 145. What a surprise. But Will, I have to admit, mate, this fight, it intrigues me because where did this come from? Wiman, like, my back's better now. Let's come back after, 4 or 5 years or whatever it is?
Yeah.
Jeez Louise. Will, what do you expect in this one?
Like I said, I couldn't believe when I saw this fight announcement. I just couldn't believe that Matt Wiman was. I thought he was tired. I honestly thought he was tired. Didn't have no idea that he was still signed with the UFC. He's a guy that I've not heard of in years. And when I saw that, I was like, "Holy shit! He's actually going to fight here." And I enjoyed watching him back in the day. Really did. I thought he was a really good hard-nosed fighter. He was a guy that was in your face. He's not really great at anything, but he's very tough, very durable. Like I say, he has lost a few times. He's like your Jim Millers. I think Dennis Seaver beat him. TJ Grant.
Yeah.
TJ Grant. I mean, we have not seen him in.
What was he got? Hitting the head. What's it called? Concussion.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kept him out. He had a concussion, and he's probably not ever going to come back. Mental.
No, like I say, this is the guy that's been fighting in the UFC since like 2006, I want to say. Yeah. So listen, like an old veteran, but it's hard to pick him here. I'm not. If you've listened to me talk about Luis Pena in the past, you know that I'm not very high in this guy. But having one fight in 6 years, having that and coming back, and it's a whole breed of fighter. The fight game's moved on since 2014, 2013. It's moved on big time, and like Pena's no easy lightweight because he's still massive for the division.
Yeah,
still a guy that's, I think he is kind of around the right people that's going to make him better, like a DC's and Deron Winn. Him and Deron Winn, I think, share a house together and they train together. So he's in and around people that are going to make him better, I think. I would love to pick Matt Wiman in this spot, but he cannot do it. I cannot do it. I'm not willing to do it. So I'll pick Luis Pena to just kind of maybe catch. I think what Matt Wiman is bound to have slowed down a little bit, and he's always been a fairly aggressive fighter anyway. But I can see him running into shots with the length of Pena, and Pena could maybe possibly get takedowns as well. I'm going to pick Luis Pena via decision, but I would love to see Matt Wiman just kind of get back the clock and get a win here. But it's hard to really lay down the flag on his side and say, yeah, he's going to win here. So I'll go Luis Pena.
Yeah, that is the problem, isn't it? He had a fight, was out for 2 years, came back had a fight, and then was gone again for. I'm just like, man, you can't come back at the top level and fight one of these new breed fighters, which is what Pena is, a new breed, you know, and think that you're probably going to get the win. I like, don't get me wrong. Back a few years back, back then, I loved watching Wiman. I thought he was game, good fighter, brought a good fight to the, and he was tough guy. And but how tough are you after that much time out? Like, how much training did he get done? How much was he evolving at the time? Maybe watching, but how much was he drilling? You know, how much was he injured? How much time was he injured for? How much has he healed? Yeah, I think this might be for him more of a psychological thing, like him getting back in. It means more than the fight itself, if that makes sense. You know, coming back to fight might be more what he wants, and he might see it as a victory in its own, which I would as well if I'm him, just stepping in the cage. And I think that's maybe what it is. He might just get in, and then that'll be it. Win or lose here, he'll be like, "That's me. I'm good. I just want to get back." And because that help, you got to be thinking to yourself, man, he could hurt himself at any point, and is it worth it? So I'd be surprised if he keeps going, because that dude, man, think, Will, how much the lightweight division's changed since he fought in it. It's insane. It's murderer's row. Oh my word! So I'm going Pena as well. I just think Pena's gonna just land, more shots on the feet, and I just don't see Wiman trying to. I just don't see him being able to keep the pace or get the timings. I don't think he's going to be sharp. So I'm going Pena, but it's a weird one. I would have thought I would give Wiman to like one of the older veterans of the 55 division more so than Pena. But that's just me. Next up, mate, I've got a treat here, ladies and gentlemen. Dan Ige against Kevin Aguilar. Mate, I'm looking forward to this one. I think you or I are going to surprise each other with the pick. So, Dan Ige, he's looked really good of late. We got a win against Dan Henry. Sorry to bring that up. And he was just super aggressive. For me, Dan Henry did the silly thing. He did tall man defense. Lean back. I'm like, don't lean back because your chin's there. And Dan Ige just closed distance, swung big over the top and got him. And then got onto his back, and that was the end. But Dan Ig's looked impressive, making some of the fights quick, being super aggressive, and then getting that takedown. Kevin Aguilar is, in his own right, a very, very good fighter. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know who he is, he's obviously had a couple of fights in the UFC. His Barzola one was super impressive. And obviously outside the UFC, he is very well known. Well, I'm actually going to go with Kevin Aguilar. A lot of people are high on Dan Ige, but Kevin Aguilar, for example, the Barzola fight's a big one. He looked fantastic. I tell you what was super was his jab. Man, he was, and I think Dan Ige is susceptible to getting mentally beaten in a fight with the striking. It's happened to him before in the past, and I think here that Aguilar's surprisingly really powerful. He doesn't seem like he's putting in a lot of pop in the shots, but he is really powerful. The Julio Arca fight was a good example where he just couldn't get the timings down, and I think Arca was the better striker. And I think Aguilar is the better striker than Ige. Ig's very aggressive coming forward and getting the finish, but I just think Aguilar's more experienced in that sense. He's good on the ground. Aguilar, he's no joke on the ground. So Ige, as aggressive as he is on the ground, I think Aguilar could handle that. And I just think, as an all-round fighter, I love this matchup, by the way. I think it's a fantastic fight. I just think Aguilar's got it. I just think he edges it in pretty much a lot of the facets in the fight game. And I think Ige's going to be very explosive at the start, very aggressive, but Aguilar's just going to bring the tempo down to his tempo. And I think he's going to control the pace of the fight, which Ig won't be able to kind of cope with. It won't suit him, so it might throw him off. So I'm gonna go decision, maybe late stoppage for Aguilar.
Yeah, actually, Kevin Aguilar is one of my more confident picks in the entire card.
Oh, okay.
He's actually a guy that I've got penciled in for a bet at some point this week as well, so I'll give away that really early.
A lot of people are writing him off, bro.
Yeah, I've seen some people talk, kind of down talking a little bit, and Dan Ige, like much respect to the guy because he
Yeah.
has made, he's looked great in his last 3 fights.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say that they're top fighters because they're not, but 2 finishes. Danny Henry and Jordan Griffin are very kind of very tough, especially with Danny. He's kind of got that length and everything, but took him down, got the submission really quick. Jordan Griffin's just a hard guy to really fight. He's going to win fights in the UFC. He's going to hurt some people. The way I see it is here that Dan Ige is going to want to take this to the ground, and I think that Kevin Aguilar is just going to stop him from doing that. And I think Aguilar is one of these big, heavy power hitters that when he hits you, you feel it.
Yeah.
I think that could scare Ige off shooting for the shots that he needs to get this fight to the ground. Now, if he gets this fight to the ground, that's where I think he's got his best chance to win this fight. I think he can strike with Aguilar, but I think he is at a power disadvantage. But as a kind of more well-rounded mixed martial arts, I give that to Ige. But as a fighter, I think Aguilar is really tough. And I forgot who he fought last time, Kevin Aguilar.
Barzola.
But Barzola, that was it. I bet him. I think he was an underdog in that spot, and I really liked him there. And Barzola couldn't get takedowns on this guy, and I think Barzola is one of the best guys at featherweight for getting takedowns. Aguilar was not giving him anything. He was sprawling really well, was being super heavy, and then when they were in that striking phase, his shots were counting. He was hurting Barzola with those power strikes and making Barzola kind of sit back and think more than he really should have. So I like Aguilar on this one. I think he could potentially get a late stoppage. So I'm going to go a third round win for Kevin Aguilar.
Nice. I think we're probably on the smaller number of people picking Aguilar. It seems like from what I've saw online.
Yeah.
Surprising. I think
he's a bit favourite. He's a betting favourite.
Oh.
So, but the lines kind of came down. He is like minus 145 and he is plus 125, but we might get lower than that.
That's
I think
not much. Yeah. Next up, we have on the main card kicking off. A surprise this fight is on the main card, but it is. Ashley Yoder against Kondo. Will, what do you see in this fight? I don't see a lot, to be honest with you. I think it's going to be painful, but it's happening.
Yeah, it's happening. That's the kind of the kind of be all and end all, really. Both kind of low level goals in the sport. It's kind of, to me, it's kind of flipping a coin and see where it lands and go from there. The line kind of dictates kind of what this fight is, and it's a pick'em. So you look at Kondo, she came in, she beat Chan Mi-jion, got blasted in 30 seconds by Botello with that big body shot. Lost to Yan Zhaona, and I think that's not a bad loss to have in your record, personally. I think that
he's fighting for the title next.
Yeah.
What?
That's Weili Zhang. That's the other Chinese bird.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yan
Oops, folks. As you can imagine, they all sound similar. Yeah. Sorry, not racial.
But so yeah, but then you look at Yoder. She's a scrappy fighter. I think that you could her fight last time against Amanda Bobby Cooper could have really went either way. Her fights are super close.
I had Cooper on that. I really did. I still can't. I watched it and I went, how the fuck did Yoder win that decision? Yeah, it was weird. I think the third round on top, maybe that was about it.
Yeah, coin flip fight. I've no real clue about who's going to win. I think I'm going to go Kondo. Like I said, it's completely dominated like she did against Angela Hill and Justine Kish, or she fights close fights like she did with Mackenzie and Amanda. It's going to be one of those things. She's either going to be dominant or she's going to be it's going to be close. I find it hard seeing it being super dominant, if I'm being honest with you. So I'm going to go a split decision win for Kondo, but like I say, no real interest, if I'm being honest.
No, I think the output's going to be super low for a start. Pair of them are low output. like Yoder got the. I think the only reason Yoder must have got the nod was because of the kind of scrappy role in the third round where she ended up on top or something by like I can't remember how it happened again. But that's it. That's all I could see again. She got on top of Amanda Cooper, and Cooper just didn't bother getting up on the feet. Yoda just seems really tentative, almost nervous. There's no confidence in her jab. Like she's got a jab there that she could probably utilize because she's quite long, and there's no deterrent with her jab, and that makes me confident if I were to fight her. If I obviously I'm a little bit heavier than her, but I think for Kondo, when she sees Yoda throwing that tentative jab, that'll just be a kind of beckon call to say, right, cool, I'm going to pop you back and probably come over the top with a right following the jab. But man, I think Kondo will win probably just from a couple of counter-strike shots. But honestly, I couldn't really care less because neither of them are going to do much in this division, and it's just happening, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway, middleweight division, bit more of a fun fight for us. Kevin Holland against Alessio Di Chirico. Di Chirico. Now, we have to say that this fight is a fun middleweight fight. Kevin Holland is bit of a fun talker in the when he's in the cage, let's say. I think there's a time and a place. He's a little bit. Do you know what it reminds me a little bit of? Deontay Wilder with his strikes, where he just throws crazy, kind of off balance, not really proper strikes. I don't know if that makes sense. Does it?
Yeah.
But you know what I mean. It's which in a way it isn't a bad thing because it's unorthodox. It's not what the people are used to because when you spar, your training partners throw kind of your set standard, but he throws unorthodox kind of techniques and strikes and combinations. Alessio, tough dude, but I just don't think Alessio's dynamic enough or offers anything that I see that I think Kevin should get this. I think on the ground, Kevin should win. If it gets to the mat, if I'm Kevin and get it to the mat, I believe he's a brown belt under Dean Lister, is it? No. Someone like that. Some bad motherfucker he's brown belt too. So to get a brown belt under that person, it means you're good. It sounds awful. I'm thinking Dean Lister. I could be wrong. But he is not too bad on the striking. I've got to be honest. He throws a couple of good strikes. He can take a crack. I wish he saw his gum shield out. They kept falling out in the Santos fight. Like, come on, mate. Getting paid a few quid now. Get a decent gum shield. But Alessio, for me, he's just a standard middleweight, if that makes sense. There's nothing outstanding about Alessio. Nothing kind of stands out for me that he does anything particular that can make him win the fight. He's a good, well-rounded fighter, especially if the UFC want to hit the Italy market, which I think is something they're lining up shortly with. Like the Julian Marquez fight, I thought Marquez potentially won that fight. He definitely landed the harder of the strikes. But yeah, Alessio's not. I think this is probably one of Alessio's hardest fights. But I'm going to see Kevin Holland here. I think he's going to win. And I wouldn't be surprised if he finished the fight, but I'm going to go maybe with submission. But I'm going to go Kevin Holland either way.
I actually really like Kevin Holland, but he's one of those guys that frustrates me a hell of a lot because
Yeah.
I think he's got talent, but he's like his antics inside the cage are
questionable.
I've had money on him a couple of times his last two fights, and he's fought like in that fight with John Phillips. He was taking like kind of unnecessary risks where he was kind of letting him get shots off, and with Phillips you have to be careful because he has some big power. And then in the Mearshart one, he just made that closer. I think if he just fought, he just gave Jeremy Mearshart kind of every opportunity to kind of win that fight. And I was like, dude, come on, you can beat this guy. But he was giving up takedowns. He was allowing it far too easy. He was getting some nice reversals and so on. But yeah, you can outstrike this dude like he does with majority of his opponents because he's very long, unorthodox. He's got a great reach on him. I think he's got a good gas tank. But I don't see the Chirico coming in here and landing heavy takedowns. I know he did that against Julian Marquez and he did against Bambozi. He got a takedown in that one as well. But Yeah, I like Kevin Holland. I just wish he'd shut his mouth, kind of stay focused, stop playing around a little bit. The one thing that I think the Chirico eyes opened a little bit was his kind of gas tank. I think that Holland can go a good hard 3 rounds because I think his mouth does most of these. Like I think that's the thing at the end of the fight, which is usually probably tired, is his mouth. So um, I actually like Kevin Holland in this spot. Initially, I thought Chirico had a good opportunity of winning this fight, but I think that he's going to get beat from the outside. I think he's going to get picked apart a little bit. I think he's going to kind of run in and maybe catch some shots, trying to get these takedowns, maybe put him against the cage, Holland, and work him from there. Like I said, I think on the mat, I think Holland's definitely the better jiu-jitsu practitioner. It's whether Chirico can get him down, hold him there. I don't think he can. So in that aspect, I'm picking Kevin Holland to win the fight.
Nice, bro. Okay, next up we have in the flyweight division, the women's flyweight, Andrea Lee against Montana De La Rosa. This
Yeah.
fight is goddamn interesting.
hmm It's a fun fight. It really is. It's one of the ones that initially caught my eye. I watched an interview, I think it was actually today, with both girls with James Lynch over at the Score, and when they first got this fight, they were, I don't really want to fight each other because I think they're good friends. They've trained together outside the UFC. I think they had a mutual coach that's went to Montana's gym over at Genesis in Texas. Um, so it's interesting because it's really a striker versus grappler type of fight. You've got the striker and Andrea Lee, who's I thought she fought a really good fight against Ashley Evans Smith to really beat her up, really mixed it up. Um, and then in the first fight against Macedo, she was the one getting takedowns and passing and doing all that against a girl in Macedo who's supposedly known for her jiu-jitsu but didn't really show it in that fight. Surprised actually she's got another fight in the Uruguay card coming up in August. Um, but then you look at De La Rosa, who I definitely think she's making strides for her game. She looks very confident, especially in the UFC run. She's 3-0.
Hmm.
Now, in saying that, she is 3-0 with, to be honest, she's got 3 finishes as well, so she's dangerous. We've seen where she's dangerous. It's taking the fight to the ground. That's what she did with her first fight against Christina Martz. That's what she did against Nadia Kassem. She will get takedowns. She will pass. The thing is here is when she gets these takedowns, can she keep uh, Andrea Lee there? Because I think that Andrea is definitely well versed on the ground where she can find a way to get back to her feet. Montana is a wrestler by trade. It's what she's kind of known for, is getting her takedowns and so on. But I think Andrea Lee can definitely get this fight to the can definitely get back to her feet once it hits the mat. If Montana can keep it there, she wins this fight for me. But I see this being very, very close. I think on the feet, Andrea's going to absolutely mix her up with leg kicks and combination striking with her hands. Um, I'm actually going to go Montana De La Rosa in this one. Close fight. I see her getting takedowns. Like I said, whether she can keep her there is another thing. But I would rather, if someone gave me money, say, right, bet on this fight, I would bet on Montana De La Rosa. I think that she can get takedowns, and I think she's very viable to maybe getting a submission down in the bottom as well. So, and you have seen, if you go back and watch a few fights, I think from my LFA days, that Andrea Lee gets taken down. She got taken down by Ashley Evans Smith, who's also known as a wrestler. Um, yeah, I would. I don't think I'm going to bet it, but for me, I would rather be on the De La Rosa side than Andrea Lee. Montana for the win there.
Yeah, Smith is she's quite a high level wrestler um, in the fight when she was against Lee. So I was expecting a bit more from her, but she couldn't set up her takedowns. That was a problem for Smith. She did get obviously takedown on Lee, but when she tried to, Lee did do well to kind of nullify some of the takedown attempts. So it did show improvements in Andrea's game on the takedown defense, reading the takedowns when they're coming in. Andrea, you know, on the striking side of things, she's probably one of the best in the flyweights. Like she's probably in the top three there for combinations that she throws in, mixing it up. Lovely comment. I just love the way she mixes up with the body and the headshots. You know, she really does mix it up well to open up the head. She'll rip that body open. And for Montana, for example, when she fought uh, Hawaii girl, gosh, why Rachel Lostovich, she looked a giant next to her. Like when you look at it, I was like, God damn it, how short is Rachel and how bloody goddamn big is Well, Andrea's same height as Montana in this one, but I think Andrea has like a slight reach advantage of about an inch or so. So, it'll be interesting to see how Montana handles this, not being so much more dominating in the size. Her jab doesn't look too bad for Montana. Something I noticed in her fights, she's starting to feel a bit more confident popping it out there. But she does retract her jab a bit low. So if you watch when she throws it, she kind of throws it to the head, but when she retracts it back, it kind of comes down just below the shoulder a little bit, just for the shoulder line, rather to the chin, to like where your chin is. She comes down just a bit low. It doesn't seem like a lot, but that does open up for a counter right over the top of the jab to the head. And that's something I think Andrea should be able to see or should be able to notice. So there is a worry there for Montana with the strikes. I'm on a coin flip here because I'm with you because Montana on the ground, if she can keep it down, maybe get Andrea Lee to roll onto her stomach, maybe to get the back, etc. If she's trying to get up, she could obviously finish it from there. But Andrea Lee has shown leaps and bounds in the defense and getting back up again. Obviously it's something she's drilled on extensively. But I'm going to go I'm again another 51-49 here. I'll go with Lee. You pick Montana. I just can't. It's hard because I think Montana's growing the whole time with a striking confidence. I just think she needs to start to learn to kind of put some better combinations out there. But I'm going to go with Lee only because the fight starts standing and she could obviously take advantage of that and use her footwork. So I'm going to go with Lee, but not by leaps and bounds, not by miles, mate. I'm going to go just. Next up, we have the welterweight division. Mr. Bryan Barberena against Randy Brown. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I think it's a cut and throat pick for me. I don't really see it being any other than a Bryan Barberena win. I think Randy Brown is. I'm not overly confident he's UFC caliber. He got knocked out by the most obscure strikes I've ever seen by Nico Price. And I still, even when I watch it, still can't get my head around it. But like he beat Mickey Gall, that's no big deal. Brian Camozzi was gash anyway. Eric Montano, do you know what I mean? Matt Dwyer, there's nothing about Randy Brown that makes me go, he's dangerous, he's got this, I'm still not sold on him. I don't know what he's going to do. Bryan Barberena, tough dude. It was more, I think, exhaustion in that fight against Vincent Luque. Like, as much as he was getting hit, a combination of getting hit so much and pure exhaustion, his body just eventually stopped. But I've got way tougher than Randy. I think Randy will slow down a bit. I think Bryan will start to land. And I think you'll just see Bryan Barberena get momentum as the fight goes on. I'll go either late finish or decision for Bryan Barberena.
Yeah, the one thing I've got for this fight that worries me, I don't know whether Barberena's coming back a little bit too quick. That was a nasty knockout. And the reason I'm saying nasty is he took a lot of shots in that fight. Heavy shots in that fight. And I know I'm saying that Luque's already came back, but he never got poleaxed with a big knee late in that fight. He took a lot of strikes also in that fight, actually, watching it back. But Randy Brown, he's been out for a year. He had an injury. Didn't feel ready. Pulled out the fight. Said he just had to feel like he felt better, not rush into a fight there. So I like that, and I like the fact that I do think that there is progress for him. I think that he can. I think that he's got a skill set that I think can mature and get better. But I mean, his wins aren't great, but he's lost. I mean, Nico Price, I've never really rated Nico Price, but the guy's another one of these guys with very heavy hands, very unorthodox, and does a lot of kind of funky shit. And Bilal Muhammad can just piece you up all night long if he wanted to. And Michael Graves, I think, is actually a fairly decent fighter outside the UFC now. But it's like, where is he kind of really get off? Is he gonna fight at distance and keep Bryan Barber away from him? I struggle to see that a little bit. Is he going to out grapple Barbarina? I doubt he's going to do that. So I actually fancy picking Randy Brown for some reason. Just 'cause I think this fight's going to be closer than the lines are kind of. When I sit back and look at it, I'm thinking the aggression of Barbarena, some of the power that he does have. If he's not feeling the after effects of that last fight, he should run through someone like Randy Brown fairly convincingly. I'm not convinced he does it convincingly, but I think he wins the fight, so I'll pick Bryan Barbarena, maybe via decision. I think that this might just be one of these frustrating fights for him, but I think he does enough to win in the judges' scorecards.
Nice, well, yeah, I was kind of surprised at the time he came back, but maybe he's just one of those weird guys that is tough as coffin nails, and he probably won't look like it even bothered him that last fight. A bit of a boring co-main event, not that anyone's fussed, but John Lineker, who kicked and stomped and moaned that he wasn't getting matched up, which was bananas because of his management, because of who he's managed by. Got a late step in, a late rematch, yeah. Rob Font. Will, this is actually a really, really good fight. I know they fought, was it 3 years ago? No, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I think it's a very different Rob Font facing John Lineker now. But what are you looking forward to this, bro?
Yeah, like I say, nothing's changed with John Lineker. Still the same fighter he was 3 years ago. And that's more than enough to win himself a lot of fights. And he won it very, very easily against Rob Font. Now, Rob Font is definitely, I think he's made some changes. I don't think, I think since that fight with, he's beat people that you have to kind of beat. I think the day Andrade wins a really good win. I think obviously the Almeida one, but Almeida is chinny. And I think that's shown. Then he fought Pettis, who is he's a flyweight, and there's no flyweight division anymore. So he really pieced up Sergio. He took him down a couple times, passed him fairly convincingly as well. But when you go back and watch that fight with John Lineker, I'm thinking, right, how does he change this fight? And he looked like he was second to every shot there. He was scared to really engage with John Lineker. He was trying to fight at length, but John Lineker is just one of those fighters that his pressure is so. You have to be careful, because you have to be careful with what shots you press against John Lineker, because he's short in stature with reach as well, but he finds the target, and when he finds the target, he hurts you. And that fight, I mean, Lineker's last fight, I thought that was super close. By the way, I thought he could have won that fight with Corey Sandhagen. I do agree. Did I bet Lineker on that spot? Maybe I did. But I actually agree with the Sandhagen cards. I thought he just did enough to win that fight. But if that went to Lineker, I wouldn't have complained either way. So he's going to stand there. He's going to look to pick and find his shots. It's a weird match to put back together, to be honest with you. It really is. But Rob Font is definitely one that I think has made a wee bit more of a stride. But John Lineker is just one of the toughest guys to face in the whole entire UFC. I don't care who you are. If you're a champion. I don't see like Rob Font doing like the TJ Dillashaw thing of trading with him on the feet and then getting those takedowns. I don't see that happening. This is going to be predominantly on the feet, and I think that Lineker will land the more varied shots in this one and probably win, maybe via a TKO or this time or a decision. But I struggle to see past John Lineker. I like Rob Font a lot, I really do, but it's just I think there's matchups that are made for you, and I think it's a matchup that is kind of made for John Lineker, so I'm going to pick him via decision.
I love the matchup now because I think Rob's has progressed in the time they've went apart. He's a lot more confident than when they last fought with his striking. You see a lot more fluidity, a lot more combinations and angles. I thought in the Lineker fight it was a bit too flat, a bit too tentative, like you said. Obviously, I think people think too much of the Lineker power rather than trying to just be themselves. I'm like, look, he's going to land. Just accept it. Once you get through that, then you can start to work your game around it. You know, you can start to minimize the strikes that he does land and kind of optimize what you land. I think Rob's going to be. I think he's going to be better in this fight. I think he's going to land more in the fight. than last time. I do pick John Lineker 2-1. I think John's going to win the first 2 rounds, but I think Rob can probably take away that third. I just think, obviously, because Lineker does not hold back in his punches, there's no such thing as reserving the gas tank or pacing yourself. He throws whatever he's got in his energy levels into every shot. Hence why people don't like getting hit by him. But I think coming the third round, I think Rob should. I think he's a better conditioned guy. I think he should probably land a few more strikes. So we're going to actually go 2-1 Lineker, and I think Rob's going to. It's going to be an improvement for Rob. I think he's going to do a lot better in this fight. Obviously, I feel aggrieved that he's not going to win because I think he looked good in the last few fights. Yeah, he did absolutely mess up Sergio Pettis. I just think I felt bad for Pettis because even Pettis was punching, thinking this isn't even scratching the surface. He knew he wasn't hitting any power. But yeah, I got Lineker 2-1, and I think Rob becomes good in the third. Main event though, Will, Moicano. We like this cat. We like this man against the Korean Zombie, which is weird that these two dudes are headlining this card after both getting sparked out in the last fight. Weird when you think about that, isn't it? Like, they both got knocked out in the last fight and they're headlining the card. That's the UFC for you. 5-round fight, which is always interesting. I think that the Zombie has always got the conditioning for 5 rounds. We've seen that he's got the conditioning for 5 rounds. And Moicano is very good. I think Moicano, though, I see Moicano as a favourite for me to win it. I think he's just got a bit more in the arsenal. I think that he can do the submissions as well as the striking in the fight. If you look at the Bryan Ortega fight, he looked fantastic there. But I think on the ground, he can offer a lot on the ground. Do I think that hiatus for the Zombie has maybe taken a bit of a toll? Possibly. He did look good against Yair Rodriguez. He did look good in that fight. He did land some good shots. But he's very stationed. Do you know, he's not... He did a couple of good slips, but I just thought that there was one too many shots getting landed. And I think Moicano can get the submission game going if he wanted to. I think he's going to be very variable in his offense. I think he's going to mix up the strikes and bait in Zombie to get takedowns and get on top of the Zombie for a bit and try to just, get those rounds under his belt. I think that I'm probably going to score a decision because it's hard to stop the Zombie. Because does that knockout mean that Zombie's chin's gone? Maybe not. He was a bit tired, let's admit. Last second of the last round. A little bit tired, a bit of a war. I'm going to go decision, Moicano, but I'm going to go like 4-1, maybe 3-2, but I don't see there being a huge gap between the two of them. I think, Zombie can definitely get a round or two in, but I'm going to go Moicano on the decision. I just really like him as a fighter, man. I know he lost to Aldo, but Aldo, people got to remember, Aldo's just a bad motherfucker anyway, let's be honest.
Yeah, it's a really good main event. I like the main event. I like both fighters a hell of a lot, actually. If there's a guy out there, a fight fan out there that hates on, like, especially like the Zombie, then fucking don't ever speak to me because, he just puts on exciting fights. And he's doing this for a long time. He went away and came back. And that fight, I think if Zombie had a fight before that Rodriguez fight, I think he would have won fairly convincingly. And he got caught with one of the biggest Hail Mary shots. I think he was on his way to winning that fight, and it's an unbelievable finish. It really is. And to my eyes, Rodriguez, that's the best he ever looked, and he took a lot of punishment and still came through in that fight. And Chance on Jung, I thought looked decent, but there's a difference, I think, with flashy stuff that you have to be careful with, because you've got to expect that with Rodriguez. But then you've got the technical style of Moicano, who can pop out a jab for 25 minutes, use those leg kicks to chop you down. And what he has to be careful with is just the attacks that Zombie has. He should be controlling how this fight goes. If he doesn't, and the Korean Zombie, he's on the kind of front foot, then Moicano could start to kind of buckle a little bit. but I don't see that. I think that eventually the Korean Zombie is going to have to start getting aggressive, and I think that's when he can start walking. He could start getting countered by shots by Moicano, or maybe even takedowns. And I think once it goes to ground, don't sleep on Chan Sung Jung down there because he can pull crazy shit out of his back pocket. But I think the more technical guy over striking, jiu-jitsu, grappling, the whole entire thing, it all sides, in my opinion, with Moicano. But then you look at the gameness, the unpredictable fighter that is Chan Sung Jung, that he could pull out something at any time and stop you. I just think this is a really good fight for Moicano to rebound after that loss to Aldo. And like I say, I'm sorry. I really want actually, because I like both guys so much. I'm thinking, like, who would I like to see win? And it's probably the Zombie.
I'd like to see the Zombie win, yeah, because I love him.
It's nice to see him win again, win a big fight, because he has been a top fighter for a long, long time. But when I just look at the matchup, I think that he's going to get caught coming in. He's going to get countered by Moicano, and I think eventually he's actually going to get hit with a shot, and he's either going to get, as he goes down, he's going to get submitted, or he is going to get knocked out, in my opinion. So I've got Moicano via stoppage. I'll maybe go submission in that one. I'll go like a 4th round submission for Moicano.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'll go for a finish.
I couldn't disrespect Zombie going 2 losses, 2 stoppages in a row. I couldn't do it. I didn't have the heart. Yeah, that's our picks. But Will, more important thing for the people who like to throw their cheddar around, is there any potential bets for this one? Or is this the kind of time now with 9 cards in a row, it's parlay mixing with the cards?
Maybe I'm struggling to see bets in this card. I've got nothing so far. There's nothing that I overly like too much. I think parlays is, if I'm going to go anywhere, it might be maybe a Moicano John Lineker type week parlay. I don't know what the odds are. That's -185, -220. Don't know what they are in the UK. It'll probably be slightly different, but you're probably going to get plus money for that. So that's somewhere I might go. Like the underdog that I picked was the Montana. She's plus 195. I think that fight's going to be a lot closer. And Lee has, I think, parts of that fight where she can maybe run off and win like a 30-27, but I just see it being closer. Rozenstruik, I feel like I want to bet him, but I can't trust him. Deron, Winn, I've just seen the line here where Eric Spicely is like -320. So yeah, Andre Ewell's plus 100. It's a tough fight card to bet. So like you said, I think parlays moving from one fight card to another might be the best bet here. And I know I've got one bet for the next card actually. In Minneapolis, it's an underdog play, and put it this way, I never in my life thought I would bet this guy. His last couple of fights, I didn't think this, but I've got one there. I might as well.
I've got a really bad feeling. I know who it is.
Who do you think it
is? Mr. Martin, isn't it?
No, not him.
No way, he's not Tony Martin.
No, it's not him. I'm not a fan of his, but I think he's got maybe a chance to win that fight. This guy, like I say, because we don't know what we're going to do, because I'm going to be going home. I'm on kind of a holiday, so you might be getting a guest in to talk about the fights next week. I mean, you'll find someone great, no doubt. But I have a bet down on Justin Ledet. And I'm sure I've spoken.
My word, yeah, Justin Ledet.
And he's facing against Dalchai, who comes from UFC. And when I was
UFC. Yikes.
Yeah, I was watching his fights, and I was thinking, why is this guy the favourite in this fight? I know Ledet is, and to be fair, who Ledet has lost to his last couple of fights, and Rakic and Johnny Walker, they are light years ahead of this Dalchai guy. He throws nothing. He comes from a judo background. To be fair, I mean, he has got big power, and if you commit yourself too much, he catches you with. You'll see one of his fights where he knocks a guy dead, some French dude. But I just think Ledet's going to pick him apart with his boxing. Yeah. So, and like as an underdog player, I thought I'm on that. So that card looks a lot better for betting than this one, in my opinion. But like you said, maybe going from maybe Moicano to Francis Ngannou, because I like Ngannou in that main event for the week after. Benavides, I think, is a juicy price against Formiga. Eric Anders potentially, Jared Gordon maybe. So yeah, this week's it's a hard week for betting in my opinion. I'll maybe have 1-2 plays if I'm very very lucky, but it's a tough week for betting in my opinion.
Well, there you go, folks. That's the potential offers for betting, and give us your opinions on who you're going for down below the bets. And feel free to comment and subscribe, like I said at the start. Thank you all for tuning in. Next week, I'll be back with someone else, a different face, and then we'll be back the week after. So until then, tune in. Thanks for listening.